Hi, and welcome to the AP Classroom Resources Deep Dive, focusing on the personal progress checks and progress dashboard for our AP Social Science teachers. My name is Dana Koppelman, and I'm the Executive Director of AP Instruction here at the College Board, and I'm excited to do a dive into these resources to show how they can help you in your classroom. On our AP YouTube channel, you should find a series of YouTube videos that dives into each of the resources available for all of the social science courses, be it semester-based or year-long. There's one tutorial on AP Daily Videos, a dive into the topic questions, this session on progress checks in the progress dashboard, and a final one on the question bank and use of our practice exams. Before we get into the personal progress checks, I want to take a moment to orient you to the suite of AP resources that we've created over the past 2 years to support teaching and learning. In May of 2019, we released course and exam description binders, or CEDs, that provided unit guides for a 70-day instructional calendar if you're a semester-based course, or a 140-day instructional calendar if you're a year-long course. The idea behind that number of days was to provide flexibility should you want to deep dive into particular areas, or should you want flexibility if you lose instructional time, which we know many of you were dealt with this past year. Within those unit guides are topics aligned to suggested skills for all of the course content and skills required in each of your courses. In September of 2020, we created AP Daily Videos to help supplement or complement your teaching, providing a backup band of expert AP teachers discussing each of the topics in the CED in the context of the skill aligned to it. We then aligned our topic questions to these AP Daily Videos so that teachers had the ability to check for understanding on a daily basis and provide just-in-time feedback for students and get just-in-time feedback in terms of student misunderstanding to better plan instruction. For today's purposes, we're going to talk about the last three components of this suite of resources: the personal progress checks, which are our formative end-of-unit assessments designed to get and give feedback to help students improve throughout the course of their academic semester or academic year in their class. Through the use of a progress dashboard, teachers can see where students are struggling or succeeding in both the topic and skill level, and students have the ability to see how their performance is improving over time, as well as to get rationales to why they might have certain course misunderstandings and to better own their learning and improve. All of these, it should be noted, are formative assessments and should not be leveraged for any type of summative performance marks. Personal progress checks provide students, as I said, with unit-wide formative assessment opportunities. These exist in both multiple choice and free response questions, and they increase in difficulty over time as the units progress in terms of their skill challenge. Personal progress checks provide the opportunity for teachers to get real-time feedback at the end of each unit and to give real-time feedback to students, both in terms of how they perform on this assessment, as well as the rationales behind right and wrong answers on each of these quizzes. The progress dashboard has two different places for individuals to see feedback. The class progress dashboard helps teachers identify common misunderstandings to develop targeted supports. It can help inform your lessons, whether you move on to a new topic or whether you reinforce a skill when it appears naturally at a later topic within the course and exam description. This should help in terms of differentiating your instruction and making adjustments throughout the year as needed. The other aspect is the student dashboard, which empowers students to own their learning. It shows them where they're successful, but it also shows them where they may need additional practice and where they might leverage things such as the AP Daily Videos to help further support that. To help you best understand the progress dashboard, I'm going to go live into AP Classroom. I encourage you, if you're following along live right now, that you go on to myap.collegeboard.org to get into your classroom pages as well. On my screen in the Chrome browser, you'll see that when I log into myap.collegeboard.org, I'm defaulted into Trevor Packer High School, a fictional high school that we at the AP program use to help with our work in the AP classroom resources. Because I work at the College Board, I have access to a variety of AP classes, not just one that I might be course authorized to teach. I can then access my AP classroom resources by clicking the color-coded class tab that aligns to my CED, or through the drop-down menu, finding the course that I want to highlight for today. I'm going to use, in the case of this demonstration, AP US Government and Politics. You can, however, feel free to follow along in your social science class so that you can better understand how to assign these personal progress checks. Once in my classroom, I'll see that I'm in default of the class that I want to be in, and it brings me to the landing page that aligns to the structure designed in the course and exam description. I have a course tab that gives me an electronic version of the CED, should I need one, a PDF of the AP daily videos that's discussed further in that YouTube tutorial, but that I can use to help assign those resources, as well as a pacing guide to be used should my instructional time have fallen behind in the fall of 2020. I then can look within each unit, and these units will mirror what is in the CED. So Unit 3, Civil Liberties and Civil Rights. And I'll see each of the topics from that course and exam description unit, as well as the aligned skill, the AP daily videos, the topic questions, which are talked about in another YouTube tutorial, and then should I scroll down to the bottom, the personal progress checks for this particular unit. As I noted during the PowerPoint presentation of this tutorial, there are two different aspects to the personal progress check: an MCQ or multiple choice question component, as well as a free response question component aligned to the various free response prompts that are on the end of course assessment. Each of these sections of the personal progress check was designed to be administered in a 45-minute instructional class period. We've divided them so that you can assign them as you need, but you can choose to assign them all at once or for longer periods of time should you choose to do so. Before we go into the personal progress checks, I want to orient you to a few other features on the AP Classroom homepage. Our new instructional resource search, which allows you to put any key course concept or keyword into the search bar to find resources either within AP Daily videos, course materials, lessons and handouts, personal progress checks, or topic questions, so you can personalize to the instruction and the path you're taking your students on in your classroom. I also have quick links to the progress checks and progress dashboards that I'll show you momentarily, the question bank, which you'll learn more about in an additional AP YouTube video, as well as professional learning videos. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you should also check out our quick tips, where you can look for a 1 to 2 minute video that highlights how to use these key assets, such as assigning a progress check from the homepage, should you want additional support after watching this video. So now let's look into our progress check. As I noted a moment ago, there are two different ways to get into the progress checks. The first is to go to the bottom of each unit, where you can see both the MCQ and FRQ sections available for that unit. You could also go to the quick link to the progress checks, where you'll have access to all of the various progress checks that can be assigned out to your classes. I'm going to do it from the home page. If I go into Unit 3 and I decide that I want to give the multiple choice section of the personal progress check, I can click on that, and you'll notice it brings me over to where I just was on the personal progress check tab. I can then go through and preview each of the questions that my students are going to get to answer. And beyond just seeing any type of stimuli, the prompt, and the answer choices, if I look at the question scoring and details, I can also look at the right answer and the rationale my students will be given to better understand that right answer, as well as the wrong answers and the rationale behind why that might be incorrect. Finally, I have alignment to all of the different CED components, so I can know in particular what this question within this quiz is focusing on. I can either choose to assign my personal progress check from this screen, or go back to the progress check assessment screen and assign it from there. In this particular case, if I'm looking at the Unit 3 progress check, I've already assigned it to my students. I'll go back to that in a moment. If I'm looking at one that I haven't assigned yet, I'll go to Unit 4. I can click on it, preview it should I choose to do so, or go right into this particular link right here and assign it. You can preview or unlock. Unlocking brings you to that assign screen, very similar to the assign screen you see when you do topic questions as well. You'll notice here, students do not have access to the personal progress checks until you unlock them. You can choose to unlock them for all of your classes or just the one you selected for that particular time period. You can give a start and an end date should you want to do this over the course of one evening or a weekend. You could do a timer if you want to do it in a selected asynchronous time. Your students might be required to work on something for class. You'll notice the multiple choice section of our personal progress checks are only available in an online format because we want students to get that feedback, to own their learning and course correct misunderstandings and seek out support immediately after completing. We want to make sure that it's done in an online fashion so it can be scored right away. And then based on the default you choose, given the option to see their results either right away or when you allow them to. My recommendation is that you let them see them right after scoring, as this is a formative, non-high stakes, non-classroom graded assessment that's designed to help students improve performance over time before they get to the high stakes assessments. In this case, I'm now going to assign my Unit 4 progress check, or PPC as we sometimes call it. And you'll see that it appears as assigned, yet none of them have submitted. Because I have fictional students, it takes more time for this data to generate. So I'm going to use a completed assessment to show you how we then walk through the results. So if we go down here to progress check 3, multiple choice questions, you can see that my section 2 of students completed them. I can also go into my results tab and by all classes or by a particular section, in this case, I may want just that section 2, I can see how my students performed on a course PPC, excuse me. On this homepage, and again, I've now defaulted to, apologies, all my classes, I get a quick glimpse of how the students are performing on these assessments without diving into the details or the data just yet. You'll notice that when you click on the bar, you can see how your students did in terms of the quartile with which they landed, meaning the number of right over the number total that they could have gotten in this particular personal progress check. They can be in the 0 to just under 25% quartile, 25 to just under 50%, 50 to just under 75%, or 75 to 100%. This will allow me to individually support students who might have struggled more than others, though I have other results in the progress dashboard that will allow me to give that customized assistance. Before I go into the progress dashboard, I may want to look at the quiz itself to see where my students were struggling so that I can help correct my instruction that I give before moving on to the next unit or a more difficult skill and topic. Within the results tab, you have 3 different views that you can use to analyze the data from your personal progress check within each section. The first is the topic skill pairing. Because all social science courses have topic and skill pairings, we think it's important for teachers to be able to have this view so you can discern where your students might be struggling and if it's a topic, meaning a content issue, or a skill issue. So you can look and see where they might have had a similar skill and if they're struggling across that skill. For example, skill 1D is assessed on 2 different topics. One, it looks like the students are doing a bit better than the other. So it might be an issue with understanding discretionary and rulemaking authority versus checks on the judicial branch. That's for you as a teacher to decide and make instructional choices. I can also look at the questions and try to unpack the misunderstandings in a question perhaps that the majority of my students got wrong. In this case, I can click on the question, see the correct answer, as well as see which incorrect answers each of my students chose. I'm also provided access with related AP questions for practice and videos to provide supplemental support to the students who might still need it on this particular topic and skill pairing. Because we are often teaching in a virtual or hybrid environment throughout this academic year, I find the student tab to be one of the most powerful of all the progress check tabs that allows me to help students in a one-on-one setting, coach and mentor through where they're not necessarily understanding something in the course and provide them with the individualized support they might need. I can see what they got right versus what they got wrong. And for students like Willie Wiggins, who seems to have struggled the most, take the time with him to go through, see what skills and topics he's struggling with and what questions he's struggling with, and deep dive into just why he's struggling with them, and perhaps what AP Daily videos he could use to better understand this concept, or what questions I can give him to give him further practice. After looking at the results of just the quiz, over time, you as an educator will want to be comfortable with your progress dashboard. The progress dashboard provides you with access to how your students are doing over time on their progress reports. Students also have access to this so that they can see and begin to own their learning as they improve over time. I can access it by year, if I want to sort it by district or high school, if I teach at different high schools, and also by class. In this case, I'm going to do just my section 1 class and load the report. You'll notice here that there's 2 different ways to get my summary of how my students are performing. Multiple choice, which shows each of the personal progress they took by unit, or free response. Because I don't have students, I didn't have actual free response questions answered, so there's no scores within these. New this year, and a feature we know teachers were excited for us to share, is an export feature. If you use a different LMS or different system for tracking your student performance, you can now export the details of how your students did on your progress check, either in Excel or Numbers or whatever system your computer uses, and keep those within the same place you keep all of your other student data. Within the multiple choice section, I can look at how my classes did over time, as well as how each student did over time, and then further get into how each student did on each individual assessment. Again, it provides me the opportunity to dive into the assessments. Should I be coaching a student, meeting with the student's adult for a parent-teacher conference, and to truly help provide daily and throughout each unit ongoing support with the data provided in the assessments that my students participated in. Students also have access to a student progress dashboard to see how they've performed over time, where they're struggling, and where they might be succeeding in gaining mastery. Before moving away and signing off from this YouTube video, I want to take a moment and just preview the FRQs, or free response questions, of the progress checks to show you educators how students can look at these questions and how you will be able to score these questions. When you preview the FRQ, it shows you what the students are going to see. So for Unit 1, Progress Check FRQ Part A, you'll see that students are given a prompt, and then they're given a space to include their answer. This is what a student will see and where he or she will type their response, which you will score. But for you as a teacher to best understand how your students need to be prepared for this FRQ, if you click into the scoring details, you not only get the alignment to this CED, but you get our interactive scoring guidelines, so you can see exactly what students are going to be asked to do to be successful on this, and to show you how you'll be able to score your students on the same point scale that's used at our AP reading, as well as what it takes to qualify for receiving those points for this particular task. I encourage you to look at the scoring guidelines prior to assigning your personal progress check FRQ sections so that you can help guide students to be more successful in this component of the assessment. Again, personal progress checks can be found in 2 places on your AP Classroom site, either at the bottom of each unit, where you can directly assign an MCQ or FRQ section, each created for a 45-minute class period, or through the Progress Check quick link, which provides you with all of the progress check assessments and allows you to assign them out to each classroom as you see fit. I want to take a moment now and thank you all for taking the opportunity to tune into this very important YouTube video that dives into the personal progress checks and the progress dashboard. We know that this has been a challenging year for all, but we appreciate the support and guidance you've provided all of your students, and we look forward to being here to continuing to support you. Thank you and have a wonderful day.